Live from WJHG, this is News Channel 7 at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Foster.
And I'm Allison Baker. Welcome to this special edition of News Channel 7. 2024 was full of stories and events, and we want to look back at our top 10 stories of the year here locally.
These 10 stories we're about to list are 10 of the stories most interacted with on WJHG.com and on our social media pages by you, our viewers. That means comments, shares, and reactions were all taken into consideration. And with that, let's kick off our look back at the year.
We begin with a story that gained national attention. You may remember this footage that we brought you from an incident last November.
When Deputy Jesse Hernandez at the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office heard sounds he believed were gunshots, he opened fire on his own vehicle with a suspect still inside.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
The sound the deputy heard was not gunshots, but an acorn bouncing off his vehicle.
Deputy Hernandez later resigned and an investigation was conducted. The conclusion of that investigation was that Deputy Hernandez used excessive force in the incident. However, he will not face criminal charges.
But he is facing a lawsuit from the man who was sitting in the back of the cop car when the deputy started firing shots. Newschannel 7 spoke with attorneys for Marquise Jackson, who was inside that car. Jackson filed a lawsuit in federal court naming 11 defendants. Attorney DeWitt Lacey says the aim is to hold supervisors accountable.
They're asking for compensation that matches the proof of damages, and they want the policy to be examined. It's something the lawsuit calls for a jury trial to determine. While Jackson was not hit with a bullet, his attorney says his case is still important.
The people who live through these violent encounters and tragedies may be overlooked and felt as, oh, well, they got to live. Well, that's not cool, and that's not what the Constitution says. How we have to live our lives.
An Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office spokesperson tells us that they do not comment on pending litigation and reference back to the prior statements, documents, and videos previously released.
Those are all on our website, WJHG.com. Heading now to Panama City for our number 9 top story of the year, where 2 people were charged with murder after a man was found dead in his pantry.
News Channel 7's Claire Jones spoke with officers who were investigating the case.
Early afternoon, Monday, August 12th. Panama City police arrive at an apartment on Florida Avenue in Panama City. There, they say they found 22-year-old Kurt Williams' body hidden in the pantry. Police say they had gone there to check on Williams after his family raised concerns.
His family members had called in, so they hadn't heard from him in quite some time.
Police quickly identified Williams' roommate, 20-year-old Ashaya Knight, as a person of interest and began their search for her.
Identified some witnesses that this individual had confessed to her crimes to.
Authorities say they tracked down Knight and brought her into the station.
During the investigation, it resulted that they got into a verbal argument that escalated, which resulted into him being murdered by the suspect.
The affidavit states on August 5th, 1 week before Williams' body was found, Knight and another suspect beat the victim and choked him, and acknowledged that the victim was no longer breathing or moving. The 2 then allegedly dragged his body into the pantry. Police identified 15-year-old Jaheim Gray as that second suspect. Police say it only took 6 hours from the time they got the call from Williams' family to the time they had the suspects in custody.
When we have large crimes in this nature, everyone comes together, uses all the resources that are available to us, and ultimately that always leads to a successful outcome.
In Panama City, Claire Jones, News Channel 7.
The affidavit also states after Williams' death, Gray and Knight cleaned up the crime scene with cleaning products, got rid of some of Williams' belongings, and disposed of vital evidence.
Knight is charged with second-degree murder and Gray is charged with principal to second-degree murder. Both have pled not guilty and are still awaiting a trial.
Stay with us. We still have 8 more stories for you.
It's a case that's capturing attention nationwide. Medical documents show a man died at a Panhandle hospital after the wrong organ was removed.
And a former deputy in Okaloosa County is facing charges after an airman was shot in his apartment.
Now at number 8, it's a story that many describe as shocking.
A local doctor accused of removing the wrong organ from at least 2 patients is no longer allowed to practice in 2 states. A report shows in less than 2 years, 1 patient died and another suffered long-term permanent harm as a result of surgery. Both procedures took place at Ascension Sacred Heart in Miramar. Florida Department of Health records show Thomas Shagnofsky's license being retired.
The Alabama Medical Licensure Commission says he surrendered his license there. His status means he's not authorized to practice in Florida, but is not obligated to update his profile. Before Shagnofsky's license was retired, state officials suspended it after they say he removed a 7-year-old Alabama man's liver instead of his spleen. William Bryan died this past summer.
His widow's attorney says the procedure shouldn't have happened and the doctor shouldn't have been allowed to practice at the hospital. At number 7, another story making national headlines this year. A 23-year-old airman shot and killed at his apartment by a now former Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputy. Following the incident, the sheriff's office released the body cam footage showing the moments leading up to when a deputy shot and killed 23-year-old airman Roger Fortson.
A warning, while this video has been edited to make it less graphic, it may still be disturbing to some viewers.
Sheriff's office, open the door! Step out. Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
It's over there.
Drop the gun!
I don't have it.
Former Deputy Eddie Duran has been charged with the death of Fortson and was granted bond in a detention hearing in August. News Channel 7's Jamilka Gibson has the story.
The shooting happened on May 3rd. Video shows Fortson answering his door, holding a legally owned gun by his side. He never raised the weapon, but was shot and killed in his apartment by Duran. Duran was fired by the sheriff's office and arrested. He appeared in bond court Thursday alongside family and neighbors.
His wife Ashley is here. His father-in-law and his father are both here today.
The defense asking for a $10,000 bond.
If he's not able to make a bond, then, Your Honor, he's going to be housed in Escambia County, making it more difficult for his family, separating him from his family, isolating him away, and making it even more difficult for his attorneys.
State attorneys argued bond should be set at $250,000, consistent with first-degree felony charges and the evidence.
These are very serious. This is a very serious charge. The state has brought the charge. There's been a probable cause ruling that has set forth this very serious charge, and somebody has died.
The judge granting a $100,000 bond and a few other requests made by the state.
No contact with the victim's family members or any of the witnesses, and that he can't possess any weapons if he makes bond.
The state also asked that Duran wear a GPS. That request was denied.
According to court records, Duran entered a not guilty plea in October. He was set to have a pretrial conference in December, but it was continued to February. And still ahead.
There's just way too many everywhere. Turning them away is sometimes a death sentence.
Too many homeless animals, not enough space.
When we come back, the story of a local shelter begging for help. Now to our 6th top story of the year. A local animal rescue was doing everything they could to help dogs without a place to call home.
But they needed this community's support to help continue their mission. News Channel 7's Austin Mena has the story.
For Lucky Puppy Rescue, a nonprofit in Bonifay, it's right there in the name.
We're a dog rescue and we raise a lot of litters of puppies. Mama dogs are often abandoned or turned into shelters.
Not all dogs are fortunate enough to find a shelter that takes care of them.
Those are the lucky ones. You know, those are the ones that got an opportunity to come to rescue, to get their proper vaccines, get proper socialization, proper training, and then be prepared for handing off to the proper home.
Not only does Lucky Puppy have its namesake up for adoption, puppies, but also adults, such as this one right here. Say hello to Pretty Penny.
What we've dedicated to Lucky Puppy is 30 acres that's totally fenced. We have separate play yards. We have 7 buildings now. They're divided up whether they're for adult dogs, puppy dogs, toddler puppies.
They're taking care of as many dogs as they can, but they're stretched to their limit. Lucky Puppy currently has a little over 200 dogs, but they really only have the resources and the staffing to take care of 100. Even still, they make sure every dog is happy and healthy.
There's just way too many everywhere. Turning them away is sometimes a death sentence. If you're an animal lover, there's never been a time that we needed more help than right now.
So they're not just asking for help, they're begging for it. They need money, time, and resources.
It's not always an easy job to find someone to fill the positions. There's a huge responsibility. If you're a dog lover, you will have a ball out here. It's not a sad situation where everybody's locked in a cage. We have play groups, we have air conditioning where they can play in their rooms. So there's lots of things that we could use people to help us with socializing, help us with extra cleaning when we want to do extra things. But money is always the big one.
So if you're feeling lucky, go help a puppy. Contact Lucky Puppy Dog Rescue and help give man's best friends a fighting chance. In Bonifay, Austin Maida, News Channel 7.
No matter the time of year, Lucky Puppy Rescue says they are always looking for volunteers and donations.
For more information about the nonprofit organization, go to WJHG.com. Coming in at number 5, it was a rare experience here in the Panhandle. In May, the northern lights were visible, at least through your camera lens.
This view was thanks to a powerful geomagnetic storm that the planet hadn't experienced since 2003. And these are some images our amazing viewers sent in to us. If you'd like to check any of those out, we have all the photos on WJHG.com.
Still ahead, it's been nearly a year since tornadoes ripped through our area. We'll take you back to that day in early January and update you on the progress that's been made to restore what was destroyed. Almost a year ago now, tornadoes ripped through the Panhandle, leaving nothing but devastation behind.
In Panama City Beach, a home was lifted from its foundation, roofs were shredded back, and homes became unrecognizable. But 2 men that day jumped into action to save others amongst the destruction that surrounded them.
And people screaming for help in the darkness because everything was black.
Even in the darkness, Myson Lucan knew exactly what he had to do.
I opened my door and I could hear people screaming in both directions.
That's when he sprang into action, helping his neighbors. Lucan lived in Unit 113 at Harbor's Edge Condos. His remodeling business is also located here. Somehow, his section of the building is still standing.
I just wanted to help. I was safe, I was okay, and I was able to get to some tools and help them to get people. I was just grateful that I was spared. I was grateful Ryan was spared, and we both just jumped into action.
Lucan's friend and co-worker Ryan Peterson had just moved into a unit on the first floor 6 months ago. Now it's destroyed.
I had to crawl out and then hear people screaming, and we went up and tried to get people off the top level, get them on the ground. He had his ladder out, help people in the building next to us. It's just traumatic, intense.
Lucan says everyone is okay, but going back and reliving what happened on Thomas Drive is difficult.
1 minute it's raining, and then the next day you're homeless, you have no vehicle, and you see the destruction that it left. It's crazy.
I'm back here looking at it right now. I got like a pounding in my chest, just a sense of, I don't know, maybe a little anxiety, or kind of a little fear of the unknown. What's next? Because we got a lot going on. And looking at the damage, it just, that's huge. The power that came through here, and the fact that we survived, and the fact that all of our neighbors survived is a miracle.
A miracle that they are now paying forward, using their skills to help others pick up the pieces. Despite losing their homes, trucks, and office space, both men are staying strong and finding the light in the darkness.
We're going to be rebuilding from here, but we're grateful that we have our health and our bodies and optimism to rebuild and look forward to coming back.
2 marinas in Panama City Beach are building back stronger and getting back to normal after the tornado damage. Treasure Island Marina and Pirates Cove Marina sustained heavy damage on January 9th. But now Treasure Island is putting the finishing touches on its largest barn while building out a brand new barn where another once stood.
Pirates Cove tells us they are 95% done with their work, which included totally rebuilding their main barn. Both tell us they're excited for what's to come. But Bay County residents weren't the only ones impacted on January 9th. The damage in Jackson County was horrific.
News Channel 7's Allison spent the day of the storms following residents who combed through the damage at their homes.
That's right, I'm up here at Florida Caverns RV Resort in Marianna, where storms rolled through on Tuesday morning, left severe damage to a lot of the mobile homes and RVs here at the park. I visited with officials and residents to assess the damage.
My wife woke me up. We were in an RV because I stay here. And so we were going to go to the store and take shelter up in our convenience store. And she went out ahead of me because I wasn't quite ready to get there yet. So I stepped out a little bit behind her. And I didn't get 3, 4, 5 steps out of my RV. And everything went pear-shaped. The whole world went crazy because the wind started going sideways and started to try to blow me up off the ground. So I was hanging onto my truck for dear life. Got beamed in the noggin. And about that time is when the first responders started rolling in. And I mean, that was fast because this whole thing happened in like 2 minutes.
It was one of the worst things I've ever been through. This park has been totally devastated from Hurricane Michael, and now they're right back at square one again.
Is it the community feel of, okay, we're going to rally together now? What is y'all's plan as a group now?
Yes, I have seen more people in here helping us. The rescue people were amazing. The police was amazing, and we've got churches have come in and cleared all that you see for us to drive and get to this building where we're standing in front of in case that other band came through.
We went literally door to door and checked everything. I think final tally is no deaths, so thank God for that. But we had 7 injuries, none of them life-threatening. So at that point, your perspective changes a little bit since people are safe. And you look at this, Michael was worse, Hurricane Michael, because here, these are details. We can rebuild this. Michael, we had to rebuild the infrastructure. We had to rebuild everything. Well, I don't have to do all that this time. So now we clean it up. That'll go a long way. And then, of course, repairing some of the damage. We're going to have to get some of the RVs out of here and things. But all in all, if you can say you're lucky, we got lucky on this. As bad as it is, and it's pretty bad. But, you know, I got my folks out here working. I haven't told them to go do it because I have good people. And that's really the secret. Hire people with character.
So as you can hear and see, a lot of damage up here at Florida Caverns at this RV resort. The folks that had just finished in the past couple years cleaning up from the Hurricane Michael damage are set to do it all again. So reporting from Marianna, I'm Austin Maida, News Channel 7.
Over in Walton County, June 7th was a day many will never forget. 3 people were injured in 2 separate shark bite incidents within 2 hours and less than 5 miles apart.
South Walton first responders called it an anomaly. News Channel 7's Claire Jones followed the story from the beginning and has more.
This is an anomaly.
Multiple reports of shark bites in South Walton County on Friday, starting at 1:20 p.m. when the first call came in.
We had a 45-year-old female patient was reportedly swimming just past the first sandbar with her husband. She received significant trauma to the midsection and pelvic area, as well as amputation of her left lower arm.
WJHG Chief Meteorologist Chris Smith's son was on the beach when that first attack happened.
Well, me and my friends were walking down the boardwalk, and we went and got sunscreen, and my friend's mom was like, we heard somebody got bit by a shark, and we just started hearing like a bunch of emergency vehicles like coming right past us, and me and my friend, we were running like behind them, and we got to the scene, and it was like blood. It was definitely like surprising and like a little heart-stopping because you don't want that to happen to anyone.
The woman was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Then, less than 2 hours later, 4 miles away in Seacrest Beach, first responders got another call.
There were 2 victims in this incident. Both victims were female between the ages of 15 to 17 years of age. I'm told they were both with a group of friends just inside the first sandbar, so very similar locations as far as proximity to the shoreline and about waist-deep water. Victim 1 received significant injuries to one upper and one lower extremity.
That victim was life-flighted to the hospital in critical condition. The other teen, also taken to the hospital, reportedly in stable condition with flesh wounds to her foot.
I think everybody did their role professionally, and I think
that these two ladies have a fighting chance because of that professionalism and the way that we interact and liaise together. I also would be remiss if I did not mention that particularly at the Founders Lane scene, there were citizens there. Some had medical training and personnel. Those folks immediately jumped in and started rendering care and help.
Authorities say they are consulting a shark expert to figure out why this may have happened. In Walton County, Claire Jones, News Channel 7.
Today, News Channel 7 has still been unable to speak with the victims from the shark incidents in June. However, one of the teenagers who survived, Lulu Gribben, has taken to social media to share her story.
And despite having her arm and leg amputated, she is still inspiring others that you can make it through even the toughest of situations. And up next, our countdown is continuing as we remember an athlete who lost his life on the football field.
Amazing football player, amazing friend.
A tribute to Port St. Joe's Chance Gaynor when we return. For our second spot, 3 young men from Alabama drowned in the Gulf while red flags were flying.
It happened in June. 25-year-old Harold Denzel Hunter, 24-year-old Jamonda Ray, and 24-year-old Marcus Richardson were all from the Birmingham area. Our Claire Jones covered the story last summer.
Just a heartbreaking situation.
3 lives lost Friday. Bay County Sheriff Tommy Ford says they got the call about 3 swimmers in distress in the Gulf around 8 p.m.
Our understanding is that they just arrived from the Birmingham, Alabama area, checked into their condo, went out into the water.
Ford says the search started in the Gulf behind the Watercrest condominium on Thomas Drive in Panama City Beach, with all hands on deck.
The current was ripping very swiftly to the west, so we were having to stage our rescue swimmers up to a half a mile to the west of the location and move back. Multiple agencies and units responding, including the Sheriff's Office, Bay County Emergency Services, and lifeguards, fire, Coast Guard, Fish and Wildlife, Beach Police Department.
Ford says for the next 2 hours, one by one, the swimmers were found.
Life-saving measures were performed and they were transported to local emergency rooms out on the beach where they were declared deceased. Just certainly a tragedy, and our heart goes out to their family and friends, and we pray for them.
We end tonight's show with the tragedy that happened in Liberty County when a Port St. Joe football player collapsed on the field and was later pronounced dead.
Chance Gaynor grew up in the Port St. Joe community and will be missed dearly. News Channel 7's Dekevion Goss was at the game when Gaynor collapsed.
September 6th is a day the Port St. Joe community will never forget. Friday night, Chance Gaynor, a star football player for the Port St. Joe Tiger Sharks, collapsed on the field during a game against Liberty High School and was rushed to the hospital. Fellow teammate and longtime friend Colton Johnson says he could sense something was wrong before he even got the news.
I turned around and I could see my mom crying, and one of our coaches started tearing down, breaking apart, and I knew something was wrong. And then after the game was over, my mom walked on the field and told me that he was gone. And yeah.
Later that evening, the team announced Gaynor had passed away. On Saturday, family, friends, and community members gathered inside the high school to grieve and remember Gaynor together. Port St. Joe Principal Sissy Godwin was among the crowd.
Yes, Chance was a very sweet young man. Just having watched him grow from a 7th grader to a senior, and the maturity and just the role that he took on as a leader here in our school. He was loved by all students, little elementary, all the way up to his own classmates and peers.
Godwin says she will miss his smile the most.
When I think of Chance, I think most of his smile. He was very quiet and unassuming, and while you may not hear him around being loud, you always could see his sweet smile from across the room, and that's what I'll always remember about Chance.
His teammates say he was an amazing athlete, but an even better person, who shined the brightest when he wasn't under the lights.
He was an amazing football player, amazing friend. He was just a great kid to be around, real quiet, but always made you smile, made jokes, would laugh, really contagious laugh. He was just an amazing friend to have.
Gulf County school officials say they are lining up grief counselors to come into the school to help football players, students, teachers, and staff deal with this incredibly sad situation. In Port St. Joe, Dekevion Goss, News Channel 7.
Following the tragedy, the school held a luncheon for area athletes across the Panhandle to come together to remember Gaynor.
Gaynor's celebration of life was held at the high school, and the team played out the rest of the season in his memory.
And those were our top 10 stories of the year based on how you, the viewer, interacted with our website and social media.
Many of these stories are tragic and difficult to report on. Our hearts go out to all of the families impacted. And as we close out 2024, we're wishing everyone a safe and happy new year.